Hi guys, we are here in beautiful Lakeland, Florida at Lugo's Craft Distillery, family owned and operated. Here I am today with Christian Lugo, co-founder and Master Distiller here at Lugo's Craft Distillery. So talk to us about this, man. Like, I've never been to this side of the world, but your name is popping up in a lot of the rum scenes, bourbon scenes. You're everywhere. So talk to us about how you started and what got you into this and how it went from your office space to now a night lounge.
Yeah. No, it's obviously a long story how we originated from Puerto Rico, and I grew up in the United States here in the Southeast. Went to study chemistry at East Carolina University. Kind of just throughout my process got to Kentucky, and my parents were actually stationed there for my dad's. He was a president and CEO of a company there, and they just needed a chemist, and I came by and actually got to learn about bourbon, and that's where the appreciation for how it's distilled and aged, never flavor kind of stuff. I got a great appreciation for how bourbon's made, and kind of just fell into that passion. And then, coming from Puerto Rico, we have a unique rum called Pitorro, which is sweeter and higher proof than your traditional white rum, but it's kind of like clandestine, so you have to know someone that knows someone that knows someone can get it for you kind of thing. And
you got a cousin in the back of a
pretty
barber
much,
shop.
you need that kind of thing where, they hide in the ground, hide it from the cops, that kind of stuff. It's a very little known spirit that the world doesn't know about yet, but unless you live in Puerto Rico. But it's a very unique type of rum.
Talk to us about the process of how Pitorro gets made compared to regular rums. I know it's sugar cane, but talk to us about that.
It's not sugar cane, but the process that makes it so unique is the congeners that are actually in there. There's specific oils that allow infusions properly, rather than a typical ethanol that serves as a preservative. You put in, fruits or whatever into a typical vodka or whatever else. It gets a little bit of the essence, but there's something special about Pitorro and those oils in there that actually infuse well. Those oils bond well together with the oils from a fruit and herb. Bond well together, they age over time, similar to like bourbon in a barrel. And then after a while, you get Pitorro aged with guava or coconut or citrus or coffee, things like that too. And you have something that's truly aged rather than something flavored, like it's something synthetic through a syrup.
That is awesome. 100%. I am a big proprietor of not anything.
No additives.
No additives.
Correct.
I think nice and natural. Like, I understand that some things are going to be, if I want to mess around with Fireball or something like that, whatever, it happens. I was young.
Every time, there's a time and place for everything, I feel like.
But I think when you're drinking something elevated and getting those natural flavors, one, they're going to come through a lot better, because you can almost taste a synthetic version of a flavor,
It's a chemical burn. It's something made in a lab. It's not something true, and your body knows that too.
Yeah.
Especially in cocktails, when you're trying to use fresh ingredients or anything else, there's a massive difference in having something that's real than something that's flavored. And that combination of those two, that's how the Libertai, or spice rum that's aged real fruits and spices, came about. People always laugh because I actually hate rum with a passion. I'm actually a bourbon fan who brought bourbon to rum.
I don't know if you knew this.
I like our rum, obviously, and that's why I was making rum for people who don't drink rum, because they had that bad experience of that flavored stuff, those bad headaches, that sugar rush, things that are not naturally in a spirit. Bourbon obviously does not do that. Vodkas don't do that unless you're flavoring it, but it's a very unique product in the sense of, wanting to bring that real essence to rum where it actually lacked. So, Libertai is aged real fruits and spices, a sipping spice rum, which has never actually happened before. Usually used to this syrup that is put into a rum, and then you're taking shots of it,
Exactly.
I'm not going to say the names, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring something unique to it rather than something that's everybody's already doing.
Yeah.
And from that actually Risky came about, which is a rum that it's an homage to bourbon country, aged in new charred American white oak, and it literally simulates like a bourbon. So the little sweeter finish is like a sweet wheated bourbon, but there's a lot of concepts for rum when it comes to cocktails that can do so much more than bourbon too, hence the track that we went made through. But those three different individual brands and something unique to the people and specializing in that rather than just flavoring it has been successful for us.
That has been fantastic. And it's great to hear, because you're 100% right. I'm going to tell you, for those who know me and know the show and know what we do, I'm obviously Dominican, so we started with rum, because that's what we always start, Brugal and all that stuff. And as you get older, Brugal is one of those brands that did start shifting in the direction of making their spirits a little bit in the house of bourbon and whiskeys. So they're having a rum for people who don't typically like rum or have that connotation of rum being a party spirit that has to be masked by other flavors. When you talk about tiki drinks, even though they're delicious, they're masking a lot of those rum nuances.
Correct.
Unless it's, some elevated tiki
And
cocktails.
a great spirit or a great cocktail should be elevating that spirit and accentuating it rather than hiding it.
100% agreed. You can't, you can't mask a bad aftertaste, a bad flavor, a bad, like, there's also something to be said about, I am older, so I care a little bit about how I recover the next day. A bad spirit, you can tell how you feel the next morning.
Correct.
Where it's when something, you could put that love and focus and real energy into making a quality product and elevating it, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna
Same
feel
with
great.
wine, same with pretty much anything that you're doing in life. It's just, the quality, obviously, the health conscious people, but obviously you don't want to feel terrible after drinking, having a good time or whatever else, and truly enjoying a spirit and wanting to bring that to this realm has been a priority of ours.
So as a bourbon fan, of course, I saw that one of the big things, as I mentioned earlier, is that you do a lot of partnerships with some local craft blenders and distilleries also, and working with companies like Blue Note. You have
so we did that for the Lakeland Whiskey Society. So everything is New Chart American White Oak. Everything is, you know, in a virgin oak barrel that they create specifically for us here in Florida, to be able to age here in Florida. But obviously, with some other whiskey people, they like having those notes in there from a specific bourbon barrel. So for the Lakeland Whiskey Society, we finished our whiskey in a Blue Note barrel for about 8 months.
That is
and
awesome.
the essence of it, it's a barrel strength too, you know, another concept coming from bourbon rather than rum that's everything diluted and have one basic thing. I love things that just are high proof.
Yeah.
You really get those oils in there. That Blue Note finish was absolutely phenomenal. We did an event with the Lakeland Whiskey Society, and it was really cool. We partner with Cigar Life, which is an amazing cigar lounge down here, and we just love working with local people and pairing things as well together. For Rosa Spirit in Claremont, actually, we're finishing in a stag barrel pick that they did.
I did see that.
And it is absolutely phenomenal. You would never know it's a rum, which is the best thing about it. People was like, I'm sorry, but it doesn't taste like a rum. I'm like, that's a compliment to me.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to have the elevated sense of like it's oak, but it's also a quality finish. You know, obviously at the finish, it's a little bit of the sweet rum, but it's more like a weeded bourbon rather than just like something sugary, you know?
Yeah.
The sweetness comes from the barrel itself, not from additives or anything else.
Yeah. Which is always unique, because I think very often, especially one of the things I like to almost emphasize on my show is that I'm a novice in the grand scheme of things. I'm an outsider that's taken so much. I've enjoyed so much of the spirit life. I've enjoyed the stories behind it, and some of that family heritage is what makes the spirit unique. But also, there's a lot of people who don't necessarily know the differences in between the process of making a whiskey, bourbon, or rum, and that distillation process, and where sugarcane and more molasses, sweeter notes are in a rum, as opposed to where whiskey is going to be a lot spicier, depending on where you do it. The rye, weeded, barley finish, whatever. Malted barley comes off like candy sometimes, whoopers, if you do it too high of an extent. So talk to us about, like, so taking that sweeter spirit and elevating it so it still gives you that strength of like that cask finish. Is there a moment where it feels that it doesn't necessarily fall too close to a whiskey that you're like, I wish I could make it closer? Or is that you're happy with that balance? Because we haven't tried it. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't tried it yet, but I promise you, I will soon. Like,
be honest with you,
I'm looking for a surprise.
No, it's a great question in a sense. People always ask me, like, if it's so close to bourbon, why not make a bourbon? We can't really age bourbon in Florida. It's very difficult with the type of, the temperature itself, the 4 seasons, we don't have that. They have constant evaporation. If you don't have the type of barrel that's matured a specific way, the aging process won't work, because most people don't know this, but when it comes to aging this, when it's hot, the spirit expands into the wood. When it's cold, it contracts. It's grabbing those sugars at the type of char and toast level, and that wave throughout the years is what creates that smoothness in the taste and the color, everything that comes into that bourbon. We don't have 8 years to do that here. I lose about 10% every year. Rum, because of the sweet finish.
Angel share.
Exactly, angel share, and the devil's cut too. This right here, it's all devil's cut. I mean, the couple of the barrels, it smells amazing too, but I'm losing a lot of product there. But they mature my wood twice as long, so it's able to capture the sugars a lot quicker. I distill it a specific way, and it kind of fermented a specific way. When it comes out just under 2 years, it tastes like something's been there 8 to 10 years. I'm able to do that with rum coming from the sugar cane. I use the different byproducts to actually create the rum itself, depending on which one I'm doing. But essentially, it's a really unique distillation process and fermentation process that when it is thrown into the aging process, it is able to grab those notes a lot quicker, but also grab the essence a lot quicker, rather than having to wait 8 years.
Fair.
or
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah.
Rum can do that, bourbon cannot exactly.
I was about to say, I was like, bourbon can't really always do that. And depending on where you even mentioned it, where you still it, where you hold it, sorry. Like
Aging it is a completely different thing. Just to give you perspective, these barrels side by side together, same distillation, same barrel, completely different after a couple years.
Yep.
It's almost the concept I can, I guess, share with people that know about bourbons. So imagine, you know, the small little barrels that kind of concentrate itself, and you're able to age something like 2 months, but it's really been there for, or you'd be there for 2 months and it tastes like something been there for like, you know, a couple years.
Yeah.
Same concept of what I'm doing these barrels, rather than just flavour and coloring it, I'm just able to do it in some different chemical processes from fermentation and distillation to allow it to age quicker, rather than having to wait so long too. So be able to concentrate it a lot better, but here in Florida, I'm using the heat to our advantage rather than kind of fight against it. Because we're not in Kentucky. I don't get 4 seasons. We got one, maybe 1.25, you know?
We got 1 and 1, like 1/10.
Yeah.
It's cold here for
Maybe
like 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, awesome, man. I can't wait to try the stuff. Let's go ahead and get back to actually sampling the things. I'm looking forward to some of these products. So.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, guys, stay tuned and make sure that you tune into the actual show and visit here, Lakeland, Florida, for Lugo's Craft Distillery, and let them know Bourbon and Bullshit sent you. Thanks, guys. All right.